Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of General Geekery. I am Brian, and with me, as always, is JD.
Hello.
And we have one of JD's best friends joining us today, Josh Fields. Welcome, Josh.
Yep, we've known each other for 27 years now.
Something like that. What, 1995?
Yeah, 10th grade. So,
Yeah.
all right, 29 years. Jesus Christ. Um, I don't, my mother told me years ago that time flies. It just seems to speed up as you get older, and god damn, was she right.
Yeah, was not wrong.
I don't,
It only gets worse.
it does. And the last couple of years especially, it just seems like I look, I can't believe Christmas is around the corner now.
Yeah.
Um,
This
in
year,
fact, speaking of Christmas, look at my shirt.
yeah, nice. I like that. Yeah, we didn't go to the company Christmas party last night, so that's what we did for our festivities last night is not go to the company Christmas party.
Yeah, we canceled all that stuff. They had like a drop-in where you could come by a conference room and pick up a donut, and that was our Christmas party.
Right. Yeah, our our company won an election for funding, so it was kind of a celebratory. It wasn't officially a Christmas party because we were using election money for it, so it was
Yeah.
a celebratory party, and I didn't want to go, but I still have to go to another Christmas party for work. So
The older I get, the less and less I want to go out to do anything.
yeah, that's kind of what our thought was. So we stayed in last night and made nachos.
See,
Um,
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
they're they're talking about calling us back to the office. They already wanted us back in the office, but when they reopened the offices in Memphis and Springfield, um, apparently that didn't go all that well. So they pushed all the office callbacks like into the future. So good. I don't want to go back to the office. Ew, people,
I thought they
Yeah.
coworkers.
decided not to that they were going to let whoever wanted to work from home.
They did, and then they tried to reverse it last year, and apparently it was questionable results because some people just opted not to go back and to find something else to do with their time. So, um, yeah, because they made it mandatory, and yeah, that apparently backfired. So,
Yeah,
um,
I can imagine. I if I could work from home, I would, but it doesn't really work with what I do. So
I was gonna say not in your field.
no,
Um, um, I yeah, paramedics are much more effective when they're there working on the
Yeah.
patient. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
um,
So
so Josh, you're a biology professor. How long have you been doing that for?
The professor part
Yeah.
since 2013.
What were you doing before that?
Postdoctoral fellowship. It's kind of like when a medical doctor does a residency. You've got your degrees, but you're still in training. And so I did that from 2010 to 2013. And then before that was graduate school, which was like all of my youth, like all those years that I could have been having fun. I was in graduate school and college before that. I tell my students I just never left college. I graduated high school, went to college, and I just never left.
Um, yeah, in high school, especially in our honors English 11th grade class, the novels that we were assigned to write, well, me and a couple of our friends, we didn't really read them because we knew Josh was going to take copious notes. Um, and he did. The Scarlet Letter, still never read it. That was awful. Just from Josh's notes, I knew how awful that book was.
If we had it all to do again today, I wouldn't have read it either. I would just use ChatGPT,
right,
you know.
yeah. My wife's best friend is a teacher as well, and that's like the bane of her existence. So
I just find ways to not have them use it. Like if they want to use it for learning or something like that, that's fine. But I don't do writing assignments anymore, partly because I don't want to read it. I don't like grading it is a challenge. And then if they're going to use the AI to answer it anyway, then make them.
Yeah,
I
what's
just chat with them in the classroom. You know.
yeah. Yeah, I it's it's a it's a brave new world, that's for sure. I mean,
But
does nobody remember Terminator? I mean,
I mean, it is it's it is starting to feel that way.
always be nice to your AI.
right?
Please and thank you.
That's, everybody's AI this and AI this, AI that, and it's like that's how you get Skynet, man, you know? But
um, all of our web applications and our web browsers, they all have the AI assistant now.
yeah,
And I mean, and while we can tell what AI art looks like, how long is it going to be until we can't tell? Um,
pretty close, I think. I mean, it's really getting there for sure. I'm not a big fan of AI art. I use it very sparingly. I use it The only time I've ever used it is for the backgrounds of my card art.
it makes sense. Like for videos, like I listen to a lot of like synth wave music, and that's all AI art for the thumbnail, and that makes sense because it's neon and it perfectly fits the aesthetic. But how many times you see like pictures, photos online, and you're like, you know what? I don't know if all those people are actually there or if they've been edited in, and then that voice thing they have where they can create dialogue
Oh yeah, like
said by said by specific people that never said it. That's really weird.
yeah.
And like the GPS voices with the celebrities narrating that's a little bit scary.
That I think they at least hire those people to do the voice acting for. I don't think that's AI.
No, but I did hear about some AI company that got sued because they used Scarlett Johansson's voice
Ah,
and she didn't authorize that. So yeah, it's although if
I
I could get
that's
driving directions from Samuel L. Jackson, I would. So
yeah. We should mention that because the latest celebrity that I heard that they got to do that was Ozzy Osbourne, and I'm thinking, man, it just if because I have Sirius XM and Ozzy has a channel on there and he does a show about once a week and you cannot fucking understand what he says. I mean, between his accent and his brain damage from all the drugs, it's just like rah, 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 in a British accent. And it's like, why would you want that for your take a left here? You go take a left here. Oh fuck, you missed it, mate. You know?
that's like I remember watching the Osbournes on MTV in like the early aughts, and you couldn't understand him then. He was mumbly, but this is more than 20 years on now. I can't imagine
He's
trying to just
Yeah, so I
um,
mean, plus he's like 80 something. So I mean, it's crazy.
honestly, it's kind of a wonder he's still with us. So
It, it's I think he
Like
has
Keith Richards.
yeah, I think he's got Keith Richards syndrome. He's
Yeah.
just too well preserved from all the drugs that he's done that he cannot die.
I saw a meme about 10 years ago where it said Keith Richards. Every time a celebrity dies, Keith Richards gets the quickening, and
Quickening. Yeah.
yeah, I can see that. Oh shit!
So yeah, I think it's eventually going to come down to Keith Richards fighting Ozzy Osbourne for, control of the planet.
I remember Robin Williams making a joke once that at the end of the world it was going to be Keith Richards and five cockroaches, and Keith Richards is going to tell the roaches that he smoked their grandfathers. So,
I was going to say my money's on Keith Richards at that point.
um, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to outlive all of us because I think at some point between he and Ozzy, I think maybe when you do too many drugs, it just insulates you against death.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's like being embalmed. You've
Just people.
replaced all your anything that can decay has been replaced by a chemical. So
who needs internal organs?
yeah, and he's just chemically, yeah. All right. I don't know that we have a whole lot of like geek stuff to talk about. Some of the announcements I was gonna uh talk about real quick. Um, Fresh Monkey Fiction, who we really need to get on the show again. Hint, hint.
Yes, yes, we do.
Um, put up a couple of test shots for the next two figures from the Monster Force line.
I
Uh,
missed that.
I
What are they?
I am trying to share the screen.
Ah,
There we go.
we've recently gotten technologically advanced where we're trying screen sharing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that is the Donner Party figure.
Oh, that's gross. I like it.
Yeah, so one of our, gosh, was it who did we have on the show that was saying that they thought that was going to be the perfect figure when we asked them on the General Geekery? Was that Mark from?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was yeah from Gridiron. Yeah,
yeah. So Mark from Gridiron thinks this is his definition of what a perfect figure is, and it looks fantastic. I mean, the paint apps are amazing. Um, the
I
sculpt is fantastic. It's kind of a mix of Frankenstein and Cannibal. It looks great.
I
Uh,
love the detailing in the clothing and
oh yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Somebody thought it was soft goods, but it's apparently it's not. It's just really well sculpted.
It really is well sculpted,
Uh,
man.
the other figure that they put up was this one, and then this is the eraser. So this is the modern day equivalent of the Invisible Man. And these are the 6-inch figures. The 4-inch figure version of this figure is already out, and I do have that figure, and it's phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to getting the 6-inch figure of this version. But these are test prototype shots that Bill put up yesterday, I think.
It looks like he's got like surgical scissors tucked in his vest or something.
Those are trauma shears. So just about anybody carries a pair of trauma shears in their body armor. I also like if you look really closely on his let me see if I can enlarge it here. On
Oh,
his
that does help.
Yeah. So if you look at his ID, his morale patch on the center of his body armor, he's got a British flag, his name, and then it says INVS, which I'm assuming means invisible, and it also says NKDA, which stands for no known drug allergies,
Ah,
which are common patches to have on your body armor. So I think that is a really cool nod to like just how much they're paying attention to stuff like that.
you know what I'm impressed by? That patterning all over his uniform, that
Oh yeah,
scale pattern or whatever it is.
yeah, that crate. There's a specific name for that camo pattern. I don't remember what it is.
It
But
looks like he's got chromatophore properties.
yeah, and you
That
were
is
the
fucking amazing.
yeah, and you were mentioning the trauma shears. If you look in front of it, there's a pouch with a TQ on it, and that stands for tourniquet.
Ah, okay.
Uh,
See, this is why I'm glad that uh that I've got a best friend that's a paramedic that can explain this kind of stuff because otherwise I'd look at that and say, why does he have a pair of scissors? Plus, I mean, the my first thought when he came on the screen was that's a cool like that's a better Dark Man than Dark Man.
yeah,
But
that would work really well for that. But yeah, so those are trauma shears. Um,
badass.
it's a pretty common thing people have tucked in their body armor, and yeah, that's a tourniquet pouch. I've got a couple of those that I had on my body armor when I was in Ukraine. So I don't know where mine are, but um, I thought
That
that
is cool.
the the detail and realism in this figure is just phenomenal. I absolutely love this line. Bill also said there will be some 1/18 scale Monster Force, some new 1/18 scale Monster Force figures next year. They're hoping to announce them in January. I think the pre-orders are going to.
It is cool that that's a company that's doing both scales. because there are people that are, that only like one scale or the other.
Yeah.
So, um, um,
Yeah,
the
this the whole that whole line is just like totally my jam. It's the old Universal monsters with realistic military vibe to it. It's just like you couldn't get more in my lane for that. I absolutely love it. The figures
I
are simply amazing. Some of the best figures I've ever had are some of those Monster Force figures.
I am reluctant to buy any of the Monster Force stuff because I don't need another rabbit hole to go down with the action figures.
Don't
It's
get
expensive enough, damn it.
Yeah, if you don't get, you've already missed the 4-inch stuff. I was looking to buy a couple more of the 4-inch figures for parts for customs. They are sold out from Big Bad Toy Store, who is the exclusive retailer for these, by the way.
Uh, so,
And on top of that, people are scalping them on eBay for about 150 bucks a piece for the four.
scalping on eBay, shocking,
Yeah.
shocking.
So
Um,
you could get them. So like I'm just gonna say, if you want to pick up one or two, now's the time to do it because these are not going to last. And once they sell out, I don't see these coming back. And these are popular enough. I've found a couple of groups on Facebook and I've joined those. People are buying these up. And
well, if
once
they're exclusive to Big Bad, they're not. It's not like they're going to be huge production runs.
no. Uh
Um, did you guys see the news that Chris Evans is coming back to the MCU for Avengers Doomsday?
no, I did not see that.
Oh,
Um, yeah, because at San Diego Comic Con, they announced that Robert Downey Jr. was coming back to play Doctor Doom. Well,
Did
the
see
other
that.
day, I saw the announcement that Chris Evans is coming back uh, for that movie, and the speculation is that he might be playing a different version of Captain America. There's I've even seen speculation that he might be playing Hydra Supreme. That
Ooh,
would be interesting.
yeah, that would
Um,
be interesting.
I and Scarlett Johansson's been producing some of the MCU stuff, so I wonder if they're going to bring her back as some kind of evil version of Natasha.
Yeah,
Um,
I I'm interested to see what they do with that. I think it.
so far, the characters confirmed for that movie are characters from Thunderbolt, the Fantastic Four movie that's coming out next year,
Yeah.
and Spider Man and Doctor Doom or Doctor Strange. So
All right.
if they bring some of the Thunderbolts in, and if they're bringing in evil versions of, if they're going to bring back evil versions of Captain America and Black Widow, I feel like that means they're talking like Dark Avengers.
I'm
Um,
also curious to see what they're going to do with Thunderbolts because in the comic books, Deadpool, Elektra, and Punisher were all on the Thunderbolts at one point in time.
I have a feeling some of the characters for the Thunderbolts movie are placeholders in terms of they're not going to make it. Again, they're going to be replaced by other characters. I think Yelena and Red Guardian, I think they're safe. Bucky's safe.
Yeah, Bucky's safe.
And I don't know about the rest of that lineup. Um,
I'm curious
so
where it's going to go. What does not seem to be doing well is Sony's venture into making Spider-Man villain movies without Spider-Man. Uh,
yeah,
of course, the Venom movies seem to be doing okay, and you said you and Blake went to the last one. It was
we saw the last two in theaters, and we had seen the first one streaming because he loves Venom. He
right.
doesn't care about Spider-Man. He doesn't care one. He doesn't care a whit about. We did go see Spider-Man No Way Home,
Yeah,
because he wanted to see that. Um, so Spider-Man in the movies is okay, but it's Venom that he really likes as a character.
sure.
But
Who doesn't?
yeah, he did not ask to see the Madam Web movie, and
I
he
missed
did not watch Morbius with me. Um,
I completely missed the Madam Web movie. I didn't even see that come out into the theaters.
yeah.
it was out last, I think, January, and it was on streaming like a month later. So, and I've not watched it.
I haven't either.
I
That
heard that they spent a lot of time in that movie setting up for a sequel that was never ever going to happen. So,
that
did
doesn't.
you see it, Josh?
Mm-mm.
Um,
Yeah.
did you see the Venom movies?
Yeah.
I thought those were a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah.
did you? Because we just went and saw the last one in November. So,
Yeah.
what'd you think of
I thought they were really entertaining. Good popcorn flicks.
Huh. All right.
them?
I have been a huge Venom fan. I mean, I had every appearance in the comic books at one point in time in my first comic book collection. Um, and I just I Venom's one of those that fell victim to what I call the Marvel. I don't even remember how I used to have a really clever name for this, where the villains become so popular they have to turn them into heroes.
Yeah.
So the villain syndrome, the popular villain syndrome. So Venom is one of those. Punisher was one of those. Um,
Agatha's one now. Have you seen Agatha all along?
uh,
I watched it. Yeah,
I loved it.
we
that
haven't
was
started watching it.
excellent.
Uh,
Um,
I think
Her-
we are going to watch it. Uh, right now for streaming on, we're watching Skeleton Crew, Star Wars Skeleton Crew, and we're going back and watching The Acolyte.
Okay.
um, so are you caught up on Skeleton Crew, both
Yeah.
of you?
I've got one episode to watch.
Um,
That's our plan for tonight.
no spoilers, but man, this movie this show scratches an itch that I didn't actually realize was there for Star Wars. Well, the itch I've always is I love the pirates in Star Wars. Like every time pirates showed up in the Clone Wars, I was happy. But so there's a lot of pirates on this one, like that spaceport with all the pirate ships
Yeah.
like docked and they're all chained up, and that's really cool. But I didn't realize that just an old school adventure like Amblin style adventure. I didn't realize that was needed for Star Wars until this show started doing that.
After the second episode, I felt the need to go back and watch the Ewoks adventures because there were a lot of callbacks. We were talking about this the other day. A lot of callbacks to the Marauders there and Teak and all of the imagery from those specials. And so I turned those on, and my kid walks by and says, "Oh, what's this?" And so all of a sudden we're watching that, and then from there we're like, okay, let's start watching the all nine Star Wars movies in the order that they,
Oh,
the true order, four, five, six, and then one,
Yes.
two, three. And
The
so
release order. Yeah.
yeah, we've got Revenge of the Sith probably tomorrow, but tonight we're gonna watch the newest episode of Skeleton Crew. But it's only a half hour, so you got to find extra things to watch.
Yeah, and that's why we started watching the Acolyte was for something else to watch because the initial episode is an hour long, but then
Yeah.
the subsequent episodes are only half an hour long. I'm
I like the Acolyte.
I am too. I'm really enjoying it. Star Wars fans are their own worst enemy. I just the toxicity that these fans put out is just it's beyond my comprehension to understand
There's
why.
no and there's no reasoning with them. I filter them out. I just ignore them. Like I never read the comments on um there's only a couple of Star Wars groups that I'm on in Facebook, and it's because they're groups that do not tolerate any sort of toxicity. They will boot the people that laugh, react, um or actually leave negative comments because honestly, after all of these years, stop like you just stop with the hating. Just stop. I mean, I remember all the feedback for the prequels. There was a lot of hate there, but there was no social media. So it
Yeah.
wasn't there all the time. And that shit started for the Acolyte from the time the trailer was shown. And I just do not understand it.
I don't
But
either.
I'm a big believer in if you don't like something, Move on.
Yeah, I don't
Don't
either.
watch it.
I saw the previews for it and I'm like, ooh, Carrie Ann Moss is a Jedi. I'll have some of that.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah, she was great. I think the whole show was great. It introduced a whole lot of new ideas to Star Wars and brought in a whole lot of old lore stuff
Yeah.
from the expanded universe. How many episodes are you in?
we just finished the third episode last night, I think.
Um, yeah, because Ari and I we were watching that every week as it aired. Um, and I enjoyed the shit out of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
So
Especially by the end when you're seeing it all put together, and weaved back together.
and
I'm,
what if you go back and watch it again once all the episodes are there and you can binge it, there's a whole lot of connective tissue that you see that it's like this is they had a really intriguing story going, and I mourn the fact that it's not getting a second season.
I'm curious to see if they will, because I've heard that like I said, no spoiler alerts, right? So I've heard that they build up to, really left a lot of stuff open for a second season. And of course, that isn't going to happen because thank you, Star Wars fans. They've shit on it enough that they did not greenlight the second season. But it sounds like there's enough stuff there to continue the story arc. So I'm wondering if it will get picked up in another media form, whether it will be comic books or novels or an animated series.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to say that they can't go back in a couple of years and do another TV series because after some of the vitriol eases and some of the, once the hot potato cools down a little bit, there's always a possibility.
Yeah, but
Um,
it's really hard to get all of those a whole like cast of actors back together.
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
it's true.
yeah, once something like that dissolves, it's hard to get everybody back. So
That's true. People are still wishing for a Firefly reunion.
But
yes.
yeah.
All of those people are really busy, except for the guy that played Simon. He's not busy. Um, so
Well, and Ron Glass, I think Ron Glass isn't
oh
particularly.
yeah, he might be beyond casting for
Yeah,
that movie.
I don't
But
think Ron Glass is going to be back for that. So,
um,
which
but
he's one of my favorite characters. So I, I, as much as I would love to see Firefly, a second season of Firefly, I don't want to see them do it and do it poorly.
without Wash and without Book, it
Yeah.
won't be the same.
It
But
I, as much as I would love it, I'm okay that it's one of those things that's like, okay, you screwed it up to the possibility of going forward with it. Let's just leave it alone.
agreed. Um, did you watch Firefly when it was on the air? Not that it was on the air for very long because
No, no,
Fox didn't know what to do with it.
yeah, and they kept
I
moving.
saw it on DVD a couple years later, and I was like, "Oh, goddamn, this show is great. This is awesome."
Yeah,
Fox really fucked that up.
one of my partners watched it while we were at work, and I didn't watch it then. But when I was in Afghanistan, we were always looking for something new to watch because we're in the clinic for 13 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we if we didn't have patients, we could do whatever we wanted as long as we were in the clinic. So we would go to the Haji Mart and the, the Mechaplex and get whatever bootlegs were available. And I think Doug got a copy of Firefly and he's like, "Here, watch this." And so I watched it in Afghanistan for the first time.
Um, the Haji Mart, what is that? Like a swap meet or something?
Yeah,
Sounds like a swap meet,
pretty
like an
much.
open air market.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. The proper term is bazaar. Um,
Uh,
so yeah, it's an open air market. Um, but the counterfeit stuff that's available there was just
Oh yeah, isn't that where you got one of the Marvel movies and you said in the middle of it they started talking German?
no,
Um,
that was one of the DC movies. Watchmen.
ah,
Yep.
um,
Got to the scene where they're on the moon or on Mars, and then everybody just starts speaking German all of a sudden.
The
without
characters or the
subtitles.
people in the like?
Yeah, it went from English to just like German, just like that. No subtitles, nothing. It just switched over. And I'm like, well, I only
That's
spent $1 on it, so it's like, you can't really go
all
back.
you got what you paid for then, basically. Yeah.
Like, it's illegally bootlegged anyway. So what are you going to go complain to the guy and say you stole this wrong? So
Give me the one in Spanish.
yeah, exactly. See,
Um, I want the copy where they speak Mongolian.
yeah, I don't know that it got translated into Mongolian.
Um, the um, so Skeleton Crew, yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah,
The Acolyte's good stuff. You
yes.
guys watch Ahsoka?
I was just
Yeah.
about to ask, do you have to have seen Rebels to enjoy
No.
Ahsoka?
No, you don't. It seemed like they were setting it up to be kind of a sequel to Rebels, but honestly, other than a few characters that are Easter eggs for Rebels, you do not need to have watched Rebels to appreciate it. There's enough context on screen that they explain it. Yeah, it's not necessary.
Okay.
Um,
'Cause that was the big thing why Emily and I hadn't watched it is I've seen all but I think the last season of Clone Wars, and I've never had time to sit down and watch Rebels. One of the guys I work with, or used to work with, is a huge fan of Rebels and just raves about it endlessly.
yeah, I love Rebels, but I don't. There's there's Easter eggs, there's callback. Basically, it's one of those where you'll appreciate some of the stuff on screen if you've seen it, but if you haven't, no, it's not
Oh
necessary.
no, and um, let me see. There was something else that I was going to. There was another announcement recently. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. Um, because I really want to see Thrawn.
Yeah. If
Uh
you've got enough background from like the Tim Zahn books and things like that, then you'll just love, when Thrawn shows up and the witches of Dathomir.
nice. Yes. I have read most of the Timothy Zahn books. I've met him once. Um he's a fantastic person to talk to. Um I'm going to do another screen share here of another announcement in case people miss this. I kind of doubt that you did. Um but just in case you have, this is the Heir to the Empire's
Oh,
set
sweet.
for the 4-inch line for the vintage collection, which comes with Thrawn and JD, help me out here. Who else is in the set?
Juris
Oh, it's
Kenobi.
Joris Sabayoth and Captain Paleon.
Yes. So some of the main characters from the Heir to the Empire. This is
Captain Gillid Paleon.
This is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. As far as I know, I've not seen it up for pre-order on Amazon or Big Bad Toy Store. Um,
I'm I admit I'm a little jealous of this set because while the 6-inch Black Series set did have
whoops.
uh the Mad Jedi clone Joris Sabayoth, it did not have Gillid Paleon. This is the first ever figure of him,
Yes.
and so I want the Pelion in the 6-inch line. I skipped the set from the last command because it had a repacked Jedi Luke and it had a repacked Mara Jade, and then it included all new Joris Sabayoth and all new Luke the clone Skywalker. And I'm like, I don't need a second Luke in that set. I need Paleon. This set has Paleon. God damn it.
Well, and I
You
Um,
see
the
the on
Jake.
Thrawn's shoulders,
Yes.
the Isilmiri, the
Yes.
yeah, that is a
that's a
nice and this Thrawn, I just realized, has the epaulets on his shoulders, just like the cover art for all the Zahn books had.
yeah.
That is a really nice touch. What the fuck? Why can't you zoom in
I
or
don't know.
include
The pictures
another
aren't
picture?
loading on Pulse's website. I'm having problems with Pulse's website. So anyway, it looks really cool. It's 49.99, Pulse exclusive as far as I know. Yeah, it's not.
I have no idea why Sabayoth has a lightsaber, but whatever. Um,
Yeah,
Maybe he had a lightsaber in the books. I don't really
I don't
remember.
remember him having one.
I don't either. I
But
can't.
I liked it. He's got his pimp medallion on, and
Yeah.
he's got his Alan Moore beard.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. If you were going to do an Alan Moore custom, this would be the perfect figure for that.
oh, he's got his Jerusalem Cruiser Jesus sandals too. That's what my sister calls sandals, Jerusalem Cruisers.
Nice.
Um, um, I
Yeah, I don't know why the I'm having problems
that
with this website. So
that Thrawn figure is. I didn't realize he had the epaulets. That's amazing.
yeah, no, the whole set looks fantastic. I'm trying to find a picture of there it is. There's the 3-pack as it will look and when it comes out.
I don't buy a lot of Star Wars, but man, this set is man, that is a nice man. That's really nice.
Yeah. I couldn't pass this one up. I am getting that one. So we will do an unboxing and review on that when that gets released. The release date on that looks to be May 1st of next year.
Oh,
So
the world should still be here then. So that's cool.
I
Um,
uh I think and of course 6-inch announcements for Star Wars stuff. There was a Black Series Luke Skywalker and Imperial Guard outfit that's from one of the Timothy Zahn books along with
Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire. Oh yeah, so it was one of the trade paperbacks.
Yeah, it was yeah, because in 1996, Shadows of the Empire was a multimedia project from Lucasfilm. It was basically all of the tie-ins for a movie that wasn't the movie. There was a comic book series, there was a novel, there was a video game, there
Yeah.
were action figures, there were a couple of um there was a junior novelization, there was a role-playing game supplement, but it was just without the movie. And they're making Prince Shizor from
Yeah.
that.
So
And
the set this set comes with Luke in that disguise with Princess Leia in the Bush disguise, which
well,
I don't.
the Leia figure is really annoying because her in the bounty hunter disguise, that this will now be the third release of that figure in the Black Series, and people are pissed because basically, in order to get one of the sets for Luke, you have to buy another Boosh. But if you want two of the sets, one to make Lando in that disguise from the novel, then you have to buy two of those sets. You're stuck with two more Leia Boosh figures, and then yeah, so basically you're paying $100 to get two figures that you want and two that are extra. I mean, there's Leia in that disguise sitting at Ollie's for $10 now. There's in mass.
Yeah,
Um,
I would consider getting the Luke figure, even though I don't like the 6-inch stuff. But
I
not for 49.99. And I believe that is also a Pulse exclusive.
Yeah, the
That
Shadows of the Empire is my favorite expanded universe story, and I thought that set was awesome. But I'm like, I'm not even a completist, and I have Leia in the Bush disguise to go with the Shadows of the Empire figures I made a couple of years ago. My my Prince Shizor custom sucks ass, so I can't wait to get the Hasbro version so he can chuck my custom out the window where it belongs. But um, I just I'm like, I want that Luke, but no, not for that price
no.
because I'd have to make Lando. The first action figure custom I ever made when I was a teenager, I bought two of those Luke figures and I put a Lando head on there. And I'd like to do that again, but I'm not paying that much for it.
Uh-uh.
Um,
I don't see those coming down in price either. The other
no.
6-inch stuff announcement is most of the main characters from the Skeleton Crew are getting 6-inch figures. There is a 4-inch um Jodna, I can't say his name.
Jadna Nawood.
Thank you. There is a 4-inch version of him available. I got him last week. It's a nice figure, and
Um,
it's cool to see Jude Law in Star Wars. I mean,
um, Jude Law was one of those actors I was never really a big fan of, but I really liked the part that he played in Captain Marvel, and so it changed my opinion of him. And I went back and watched a couple of other Jude Law movies. I'm like, all right, he's not as insufferable as I once thought he was.
oh yeah, no, I
Um,
like Jude Law a lot. I loved him in Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. So,
I never saw those.
oh, fantastic! I of course love Robert Downey Jr. and Sherlock Holmes is one of my favorite fictional characters. So to have those
Well,
together with,
considering you've been to the museum in London, yeah.
yeah,
Um, um, Josh, have you seen those movies?
Which ones?
The Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock movie?
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
seen it.
I
Um,
enjoyed them.
yeah,
um,
they're really enjoyable movies. They did a really good job. I was kind of surprised they didn't do a third one, but they definitely left it open.
Yeah, I think Downey just got too busy.
You were talking about so I was just scrolling real quick just to see if there was anything else that had popped up since we've started the show. Haley Atwell was just confirmed for Avengers Doomsday.
ooh,
Yeah,
um, she's a big part of the What If series,
yeah,
and oh, I love the idea that she's coming back for Avengers Doomsday.
yeah.
Oh,
What If series has been one of the biggest surprises to me because I used to get the What If comic books when I was a kid, and they sucked. They always had the shittiest art and the shittiest stories, and they would do these story arcs, and they would do these weird story arcs that sounded really cool, but they would end up back to where they were originally, so nothing really ever changed. And they were just
I
disappointment in comic book form every
yeah,
time.
I remember seeing What If stories in like the comic shops and on the news rack, but I'd never read one ever. So,
Yeah.
You're not missing much. They were horrible comic books, and I was when they said that they were going to do a What If animated series, I was like, "Oh God, hopefully they're not using comic books for base material because they all sucked. Every last one of them that I ever read was garbage, and they're not. The
oh
animated
yeah,
series,
they're firmly implanted in the MCU, and I really like that because they get a bunch of the voice actors from the movies to come
yes,
back and play those
yeah,
parts.
yeah,
Um,
I think it's fantastic. You don't see that.
Josh, have you seen all of that? Did you watch the first two seasons?
Yeah.
Are you
It's been a
looking
while
forward to
though.
the third season? I am.
Yeah.
Um,
I've,
I'm really actually kind of sad that the third season is the final season.
oh, is
Um,
it? I hadn't heard that.
yeah. Yeah, it's the end of it, but they said there will be more Marvel animation, but yeah, it's the end of it for What If, but I'm
Because if
I
there's,
figure they know what's best. Um, so if there's a reason they're ending What If, then that's okay. I'll take it.
yeah,
What I am pissed about the cancellation of is Star Trek Lower Decks,
Yeah.
and
I hadn't seen that either. Fuck, I love
Oh, God.
um, yeah, that Lower Decks from a show that they didn't know how to market at first, and they made all the ads showed the really dumb jokes. It's it's legit Star Trek,
Yeah,
and this season has been absolutely glorious.
I
And
haven't.
I'm
Didn't
so
know.
pissed
Yeah, I didn't know that
because
was out.
yeah, they originally had plans to go through to make 8 seasons of Lower Decks. So I'm really unhappy that this is the last season of it. It's been a glorious season. It's great. Like every episode is great, but it just sucks that they're not
Paramount's
making
been a
it.
mess. They
Paramount is a mess. Well, they did that merger thing a couple of years ago, and
well
they've
then
been a
they dumped
mess ever since.
Prodigy. So, Prodigy was a great show, but they dumped that basically for tax purposes.
Mhm.
And then
I mean,
they're
at least the second season of that did come out, and we saw it on
yeah.
Netflix. But any chance of more of that is, I'm pretty sure that's dead.
We were just
Um,
trying to turn on Lower Decks again last night on our main television in the living room, and the Paramount app won't work.
Ugh.
It just sits and loads and loads and loads and loads. So I was on Reddit and everyone was saying like this app is just horrible. It was working on the phone. You can like, screencast it, but you can't use the native app on a smart TV.
That's a
well, I'll say this: I get my Paramount Plus through Amazon, so it's on the Amazon Video app, and thank God because I don't have a problem watching it. I suggest maybe switching your Paramount Plus to go through Amazon.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that.
Um,
I keep threatening to take material off of Paramount Plus. Like we're gonna move, the original Star Trek movies over to Max or this or that. And it's like, no, I paid for Paramount for this purpose. It's the only reason I'm paying for Paramount is Star Trek.
Yeah.
all I watch on Paramount Plus is NCIS and Star Trek. So, and I've had a Paramount Plus account since Star Trek Discovery, and then I found that NCIS was on there. But otherwise, yeah, I don't watch anything else on there. I don't watch any of the movies or any of that shit that's on there. Um, so, well, here, all right, Josh, let's tell the funny story. Speaking of Star Trek,
Oh, yeah.
um,
Picture it, 1996.
go back in your minds, a very, very long time ago.
Oh, yeah, a long, long time ago. So, what was that? 10th or 11th grade? I can't remember.
11th grade,
We were in like
Miss Ostrander.
Miss
Yeah.
Ostrander's class. So we made plans to go to see First Contact right after school, like immediately. Josh didn't drive yet. So we got in my car, get there, we pick out our seats, we've got all the accoutrements, and then sitting behind us is half the faculty of our high school, all the geeks, you know, just lined up behind us.
Because we get in the theater and I don't know, did we see the teachers first or did they see us
I think they
first?
saw us. I don't think we realized they were there until we looked back, and I think I stick out like a sore thumb, so I think they saw
This is
us
true.
and
Um,
made a comment or something like that.
yeah, because our English teacher, Mrs. Ostrander, was there, but yeah, there were like 6 or 7 other
Yeah, it was.
teachers,
Yeah,
and I recognized all of them. They weren't teachers we had, but I will say this: it was the first. As you get older, you have realizations about life. Well,
yeah,
that was the first time that I ever reflected on the fact that, oh wait, teachers, they're people outside of work. They've got more going on
yeah,
than just going to work and teaching us their ne'er do wells to
yeah,
get us further in life. And I was like, oh shit, they're Star Trek fans.
yeah.
And it just simply never occurred to me, but that was really weird. We were in the theater. Well, we're like, oh God, I hope a bunch of the students don't show up too. Now it turns out we were the only two there.
Yeah.
But we were, yeah, because then in '97, the Star Wars trilogy special edition come out for the
Yeah,
20th anniversary of A New Hope, and
yeah.
we were living on Fort Benning, and so the Post Theater, they
And
got
a
all
brand
of the
new theater
special.
too.
Yeah, it was.
Remember
Oh,
that?
you're right. It was a brand new theater, and they got all of the special editions, day and date, same time as the rest of the world or the rest of the country. Because you remember the old Post theaters where they'd
Oh
always
yeah,
get like second run movies. It
but it
was
cost
like
you like a
going
dollar
to
to get in.
yeah, it was like going to how every town had like the good movie theater and then the cheap movie theater with all
Yeah.
like the movies that were like a month or two old.
Yes.
that was usually what the post theater was. It was all movies that had already come out, and they were running. But no, brand new movie theater, and they got they opened it in time for the special editions to open. So yeah, we went to go see all of those, and I don't know about you, but that was my first time seeing any of them in the theater.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we weren't alive when Star Trek: A New Hope came out in theaters,
Right.
but
Much too young for Empire and Jedi.
yeah. Well, my parents said that they took me to go see Return of the Jedi because we were well, I was 3, but I have no memory of it. But
Uh,
um, yeah, we went to go see the special editions, and I just remember sitting there like, oh, this is what people way back then experienced.
Yeah.
I went
Well,
to
then
see
you
both.
had moved away, but the prequels started coming out in '99.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that much longer.
Yeah, I moved away. Yeah, because I moved away before senior year of high school.
Yeah,
So,
you were bouncing
yeah,
around.
because one of the growing up in a military family is it's interesting. You get a change of scenery sometimes, but it also means sometimes you have to move at inconvenient times of your life. Um, but yeah, so right after 11th grade, we knew we were moving, and I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna suck. Um, and boy, that was awkward. But so your family never moved though. Like you're
Yeah,
all still in.
my dad finished off his career at Benning and then retired, and then they're still in the same house they bought back in '98, and
Um,
just kind of hanging out. My dad became a mail carrier after that and delivered mail for 25 years, and then
Oof.
he's just we kind of adopted the Columbus area. I left for a while, but even I came back to Columbus.
so you're um, so how long was your dad in the service for?
28 years or something like that.
Okay, yeah, I think my dad. Yeah, I think it was the same. Yeah, it was like 26, 27 years. What rank was he when he finished?
My dad was E8, so he'd been a first sergeant for a while, and then I got sick and my mom got sick, so he changed over to a less demanding job, and so that was master sergeant when he left at that point. And he didn't want to be a sergeant major. He just was like, I'm ready to retire.
Yeah, because my dad he retired when because he was a lieutenant colonel, but he knew that he was never going to make full bird colonel unless he stayed for another like 3 years. And
So then when they tried to or when they did crash a plane into his office, it's a sign you might want to retire.
yeah,
Yeah.
because basically what happened was my dad wasn't in his office, thankfully, but he was in the building,
Yeah.
and he had just transferred because um he was with a I don't know some kind of civilian military sort of joint group in Alexandria, Virginia, and then he transferred to the Pentagon. Like, and then 6 months later, everybody that he knew from his civilian military, whatever that group was in Alexandria, they all died in the Pentagon
Yeah.
because every Tuesday, my dad said that they would pick up the whole office and they would go to the Pentagon for meetings. They all perished that day.
Yeah.
So my dad's office was destroyed, but that well, it was a shitty day. So what did your dad retire? So he was retired before that.
Yeah, I think he retired in '99 or 2000, something like that.
So yeah, 28 years. That's not a bad career.
Yeah,
Um,
we didn't bounce around too much though. We would do a steady 3 or 4 years at each duty station.
yeah, we had when I was a little kid, from kindergarten to third grade, we were in Alabama because my dad taught at the University of Alabama. He taught the ROTC program there, but But before that, they were always short assignments, and then after that, I think it was 2 years. Every place except for, well, we yeah, because the year after we left Alabama, my dad was in Korea, and so we were living with my grandparents, and then we went to Connecticut for a year, and thank God that wasn't a longer assignment. That did not go well for any of us. And then after that, yeah, it was 2 year assignments everywhere else. But um then he um yeah, we left Fort Benning after 11th grade, and he moved to a think tank in California, and culture shock. That was interesting. But um yeah, so what was that like having 3 or 4 year assignments? So you didn't move around nearly as much as.
Well, I mean, we would do, it'd be like, well, it might have been more like 2.5 years because looking at my grade school, it was like first and second grade in this school, and then in the summer we would move, and then third and fourth grade would be in this school, and then like fifth, sixth, and seventh might be in this school, and it was, we moved a bunch, but it wasn't as bad. Like I dated a girl in my senior year, and her dad was a sergeant major, and I swear she must have moved like every 2 years for her whole life because her dad had gone up the ranks pretty quickly when she was younger, and like so she transferred into to our high school as a senior and had done like it was her third high school already from her dad like bouncing from post to post.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I will say this: we were lucky that we never got like transferred in the middle of the year because
That happened.
I remember at Fort Benning there would be kids that would start. They were starting in like December, and
Yeah, that
wow,
happened to me once or twice.
that's awkward. Um, but yeah, Brian's older than us, so he saw Star Wars in the theater.
I saw A New Hope in the theater, so and
Um,
I don't remember it, but I know I went, and then I do remember seeing Empire in the theater.
what, okay, what was it like to watch Empire Strikes Back in the theater?
It was amazing, and just sitting there after the movie, just with my mouth open, and my mom saying, "Okay, well, 2 more years till the next one."
um, uh,
Was it two or how much time passed between Empire and Jedi?
I was 2 years, I think.
2 years.
Yeah,
wait, let's see, 77 for A New Hope, then called Star Wars, 80 for Empire, and oh yeah, it was 83 for Jedi. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I only
so
waited 3 years for a TV show. I'm still waiting on Stranger Things season 5 or whatever it is.
yeah.
I gave up on season three. I gave up on Stranger Things in the 2 episodes from the end of season three. I'm like, you know what? I don't like the show anymore. So
We
I
we,
stopped
we
and
tried
haven't gone back to it.
yeah, the last season, and we watched like the first 2 episodes and just couldn't get into it again.
Yeah.
We're watching the another one that just kind of went down the shitter was the Umbrella Academy because we watched
Yeah.
we're I think we're still in the middle of that. I don't think we've finished that. The latest season that's out, and it is not nearly as captivating, entertaining, or well written as the first few seasons were.
I got into I watched that. I started that. I watched a couple episodes of the first season. I'm like, whatever is happening here, I'm not feeling it, so I stopped.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the first few seasons were phenomenal, but man, this last season is not any good.
Like the Game of Thrones syndrome. You gotta, end on a high note.
Yeah, it was the same thing with American Gods. I know
Yeah.
I know Neil Gaiman is not a topic to be discussed anymore, but the book was phenomenal, and the
Yeah.
I never watched it. I
first
I did remember hearing about it, but I never watched it. So.
yeah, the first 2 seasons were phenomenal, and then the third season is just like, what are we even doing here?
It's
So
a hard show to watch if you've got children that you don't want, just like Game of Thrones. If you've got to wait till the kids go to bed and they're good and asleep before you can watch your show, then it's hard to keep up sometimes.
Yeah,
And if the
that
show starts to go downhill, then you're like,
yeah,
not gonna put any effort into this anymore.
Sunsman.
Um, the yeah, because I like I never started watching Why the Last Man, because when Brian and Emily, they're like, everybody in this movie or everybody in this show is unlikable, and you guys stopped watching it, didn't you?
It's one of my favorite comic books. I have a full run of the comic books and have read it multiple times, and it's just one of the most entertaining runs of comic books ever, as far as I'm concerned. One of the, it's hard to find something that's so unique. So, and Brian K. Vaughan is just one of the best authors, as far as I'm concerned. Um, and it's a phenomenal comic book. The art's not too bad and pretty consistent, but it's you're there for the storyline for sure. And the show was unwatchable. You absolutely hated every character in that show. I think we watched 3 or 4 episodes and we're like, this sucks. And yeah, they shit canned it after the first season. So, and
Didn't that?
rightfully so.
Am I wrong, or did that come out like when the pandemic started? It seems like a weird time to launch a show like that.
Uh,
Um,
it does seem like that did come out during the pandemic, and it seemed like prophetic almost, because that's kind of, I mean, it was a very pandemic thing in the main premise of the of the of the the storyline. And it just, yeah, it may have not been the right time for that, but even if it wasn't, they did such a horrible job with the screen translation that it just, I don't know that there would have been a good time for that because it was so poorly done.
I was gonna say unlikable characters are unlikable no matter what. Um, I'll tell you what show is one movie that's starting to feel more relevant as we get older is Demolition Man. Jesus Christ. We're we might not have the three seashells, and
Yet,
we might not yet be getting fined for swearing, but there are some things in that movie that I'm just like, who could have predicted that? I don't know. I heard a conspiracy theory that when they turned on the Hadron Collider over in Switzerland in 2017, that it did something and it switched us to the wrong timeline. And
Yeah.
I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but you know,
and
they might have a point with that one.
as far as alternate timelines, that was a pretty good segue. So I have a figure to unbox. I have one of the 2009 um, Hiya Toy 2009 Star Trek Hiya Toys um, Captain Kirk figures. Obviously, Chris Pine was the actor for that. Um, the packaging's okay. I'm not real impressed with it. My cards are not much less than these. On the back, there's just a couple of pictures, a little information about the card or about the company, and then just a one sentence blurb about the type of figure that it is. I mean, it's not, the packaging is not, is underwhelming to say the least. Um, it doesn't show any other figures in the line. So I mean, if you were interested in picking up other figures, you don't even know what's available. I think right now it's Kirk, McCoy, and Scotty, I think, are the only figures that are available in the line right now. Um, as far
They
as
bring out Spock at first. That's dumb.
uh,
Um,
I think there is going to be a Spock, but
I would hope. Um,
it's like it's going to be him in like the cold weather gear, from what I've seen.
Old Spock.
Yeah, I've seen a
So,
prototype of it, but it's not.
so it's Leonard Nimoy Spock.
Yeah, it's
But
Leonard Nimoy Spock. Thank you.
well, that's good because
So it comes with the packaging, like I said, is underwhelming. An extra set of hands. The likeness is horrible, and that is the
so
big.
Michael Myers?
Yeah, yeah, they did a really good job of making a Chris Pine Michael Myers head. So, for those that don't understand that reference, the Michael original Michael Myers mask is a repainted William Shatner Star Trek mask. So if you don't know that one, turn in your geek cards to JD on the way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
So this is the Chris Pine version of the Michael Myers. Yeah, it doesn't look anything like Chris Pine at
no,
all.
no, not at all. I bought it for a custom. I'm gonna get a Leonard Nimoy. I'm gonna get a DeForest Kelly head from Craniac and make a 4-inch scale Dr. McCoy custom. So
Um,
it comes.
that's
The figure is not bad. The articulation's about on par for what you'd expect from Hiya Toys. Uh, all the joints feel pretty decent. I'm a little the Hiya Toys I've had hit or miss. Some of the Predator figures are fairly fragile. The DC line toys were notorious for being super fragile. My Batman was broken in the box, and I never opened the Harlequin um, just because of that. But the GI Joe figures seem to be pretty stable so far of the few that I have. Um,
are are the rank stripes and the Starfleet logo on the chest, are they sculpted on or painted on?
the rank stripes are painted on. Uh, it feels like the parabola is sculpted on.
Okay, so when you repaint that to make him into McCoy,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to you're gonna have to paint the stripes for the rank. That's
Uh,
gonna suck.
yeah, that's actually not too hard. I have really thin, really narrow masking tape specifically. That's how I did my Beetlejuice custom,
Okay.
was masking. So it's not, it's maybe I need to do a tutorial on that. It's actually not as hard as you would think. Uh, the trick is letting the paint dry for a little bit. Since I use an airbrush, it puts on pretty light coats of paint. So you
Oh yeah.
really need to let the paint cure a little bit so the masking tape doesn't pull up your paint. Um, the it's also a really weird construction. Our buddy Jimbo has taken one of these apart because the shirt is a soft plastic piece. It's all one piece, which is really weird. So there's like a torso joint in here that is unlike anything that has been in any other action figure in this scale before. It's really weird build. Um,
Oh, so you couldn't like combine it with the Marauder figure or anything.
no, not at all. Not at all. This is not compatible with any other line, unfortunately. Uh,
All
we
right,
need we need to get Jimbo on the show to talk about how these things are built because it is a really weird design. So
so the same way they have proprietary
shit.
foot pegs for the stands, they've got some weird proprietary construction, so you can't mix them with other
He's
toilets. The phaser looks good.
got a class 2 phaser, which is nice. Um, I'm gonna have to switch out. He doesn't hold it very well. And then a really nice communicator too. I'm probably gonna have to get Spock or McCoy at some point in time for a tricorder, or maybe Jimbo will have an extra one for me. I don't know. We need to get Jimbo on the show too. Um, yep, and that's gone.
All right, so one of his hands is useless.
Yeah, he does come with an extra set of hands, um, which looks like that they'll hold stuff a little bit better. So I'm gonna
Oh, all right, yeah, that's good.
and then he does come with a belt.
Oh, it's got the holster for the um phaser, so that's good.
Phaser and the communicator, it looks like.
Oh, that's cool. Good. So you won't lose the communicator.
I already did. Oh, there it is. Nope, there I found it. So yeah, the belt will need to be heated up to go over the figure. Um, this is why I recommend because I don't think it comes apart. Oh, I
So
guess
you bought that just to make like a Prime Universe McCoy because you didn't like that movie. But
I
Josh,
absolutely hated the 2009 stuff. I
yeah,
cannot stand it.
Oh,
I absolutely detest the 2009 stuff.
yeah, Josh, what do you think of it?
it wasn't something I go back and watch frequently. I mean, I didn't hate it, but like when I, have a choice of movies to watch, I have not gone back and watched them again.
I love the first one, and I have gone back and watched that one numerous times. And then Star Trek Into Darkness,
And see, I
you
really
know,
I would like the second one because I absolutely love Benedict Cumberbatch and I absolutely love Noonien Khan. And I thought, oh, Cumberbatch as Khan, that's going to be fantastic. And it
it
sucked.
sucked.
I was so disappointed. And I did not see the third one. I could not. I heard the third one wasn't too bad, but I could not.
It wasn't bad. It
I
My
couldn't.
favorite thing about it was it had a bunch of tiebacks to Star Trek Enterprise. They tie it into the continuity um
Uh,
real well. But
and this we are
um
not an enterprise house. This is not an enterprise loving house here.
yeah, no, you're not. Yeah. So that's why I suggested that you because I remember I saw that in the theater. Like, how was it? I'm like, you hate Enterprise, you're gonna hate this movie.
Not have
And
faith of the heart here in this house. My wife nor I will watch Enterprise. I
uh,
mean, if it's on in the background, it will watch. No. I mean, even that doesn't get even stay on in the background.
yeah, your dislike of that movie or that show is why I said don't watch Star Trek Beyond and don't watch Star Trek Discovery. Which is why I enthusiastically said watch Lower Decks
Yes, and,
and
and
then
we both love Lower Decks, so
yeah,
uh,
and then we
my
were
wife
both
absolutely detests the streaming service. So it's I usually have to pirate it, and then she'll watch it grudgingly because she's mad that I pirated it, but she wants to watch it. So
so well we were mixed on Picard. Josh, what did you think of Picard?
I was, excited about it, and then the first season kind of left me like a little bit lukewarm, I'll say.
Yeah.
But
I
then
can see
by
that.
the final season, that's what I wanted. You
Uh,
know,
we never made it through the end of the second season. Uh, Time travel to me is such a overused trope that it gets annoying really quickly. And
Well, there's the right way to use it.
it was like First Contact all over again. And I loved First Contact, and it's like, why are we doing this? And I couldn't get couldn't get invested into watching the second season. And we Emily had met Gates McFadden at Comic-Con not last year but the year before, and Gates was like, have you seen it yet? And Emily's like, no, we really couldn't get past it. She's like, oh, you have to watch it, it's fantastic. um
I I had I I rewatched season 1 before season 2 came out, and I watched all the way through season 2 and had a different set of problems with season 2 than I had with season 1. And then the third season, I had a whole different set of problems with the third season than I had with season 1 or 2. But I found them all three to be remarkably inconsistent and mostly annoying, and I'm not going back to watch them again.
yeah, I don't
Um,
know if we'll ever get around to watching season 3. I know we're never going to finish season 2.
Season 3, you'll probably like it more because the rest of the Next Generation cast is there. But
if they'd taken that approach from the beginning and just, like pick up with these characters and, do something a little bit more classic Star Trek, I think it would have been more palatable.
And
I
you should say that because that's what I keep saying that they need to do with Star Trek is make like Star Trek the next generation, just brand new cast.
Yeah.
You know, set just far enough in the future that you can make some next generation references like they did with Next Generation when in the first season there was a couple of references to the original series in a few episodes, just enough to like draw in some interest and keep people. I think that would, I think they, that's what, in my opinion, that's what they need to do with Star Trek is just like no more time traveling, no more weird stuff,
No more Borg.
yeah, exactly. No more
I,
like we just need to go 40 years in the future from the end of Picard, and here's a whole new cast.
I,
This is where the Federation is, this is where the Klingon Empire is, this is where the Romulan Empire is. This
I
is, this is what's happening
between
in the Dominion War, and here we are. This is new Star Trek. Let's go forward from here.
yeah, between TNG and First Contact and Voyager and stray appearances of the Borg here and there, and then Picard, which went back to the Borg for reasons that are completely baffling. They don't need to use the Borg ever again. But I don't like the Cybermen in Doctor Who, and in my opinion, they could, if they never use the Cybermen again on that show. I don't care what doctor it is or how far in the future it is. I would be content to never see the Cybermen again, and
I can
they
see.
keep going back to it. So eventually, Star Trek will go back to the Borg, and I'll get annoyed about it all over
It's
again.
like Star Wars resurrecting the Emperor
Yeah,
you know, every other project.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't just leave him dead. Come up with something else. Oh no, he's back. Okay, this time he's dead for sure.
Right.
Well,
Until the
not the
next,
first time we thought that.
yeah.
Um,
Until so, my review on the figures is very mixed. I don't like the build. I don't like the fact that it's not compatible. It feels very cheap. It feels very flimsy. The paint apps are okay. The likeness is horrible. And in this day and age, you just with 3D printing and 3D modeling, you cannot get away with that, especially as a big toy company when there are so many people doing this as a hobby that do it so much better than a large toy company. You can't. That's one of the reasons I didn't buy the Umbrella Academy figures from Boss Fight is the head sculpts were horrible. They looked nothing like the actors, and you can't get away with that in this day and age when you've got people like Craniac and Spartan 118th that can do this stuff, and uh, any of the 3D modeling companies that can or that are like they're doing it for a hobby, you know, and can do it better than a full-fledged toy company. You
well,
can't get away with that in this day and
yeah.
age.
So the likeness doesn't look like Chris Pine. It doesn't look like William Shatner. What I could see on the camera doesn't even look like Paul Wesley that's playing Kirk in Star Trek Strange New World. So
Yeah,
he doesn't look like anybody in particular. That's really fucking weird.
yeah,
Just put a butcher knife in his hand and paint him black.
yeah, I mean the head is I mean it's the head is even just such a weird sculpt. It's the and how it's articulated, it's not usable for anything else. And he's got like such a like pronounced forehead that it's
Hey, some of us have pronounced foreheads, damn it.
well, yeah, but not not 4 inches taller than it should be. I mean, he looks like an Organian for Christ's sake.
Oh, you mean the Telosians?
Telosians, thank you. Yeah, he looks like a fucking Telosian. It's waiting for Christopher Pike to show up in his wheelchair and start beeping at him. It's not a good figure. If you're a huge fan of the line and need it for I can't even recommend it for that. I bought it for a custom. I will use it for to make a Leonard to make a DeForest Kelly uh, McCoy custom, and then I will not touch that line again. I that being said, I am on the fence about getting the Scotty figure because I really want the oh Jesus, my mind just completely went blank.
Simon Pegg.
I want the Simon Pegg head for a Mission Impossible custom.
But if the likeness on Kirk is that bad, what if the likeness comes out that bad for Scotty? And then, wait, Craniac doesn't have a. They don't have a.
No, he
What
doesn't.
the fuck?
Yeah, I'd have to commission it, and I don't want to spend the money.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Because it's not that big of a thing for me. Um, from the prototypes I've seen, the head doesn't look that bad on the Scotty figure. Um, but the Chris Pine head didn't look this bad on the prototypes either. So I think the Scotty figure is available. I don't know. I haven't looked yet. And I would skip the McCoy figure, even though that's Carl Urban and he's been in so many cool things. There are so many people 3D printing good Carl Urban heads. Um, whether you wanted to do a um the character from the boys or you wanted to do him as um Judge Dredd, or you needed a McCoy figure, whatever the reason is, there are so many good third parties doing Carl Urban heads that it's not hard to get one.
Um,
For
so
if you needed Carl Urban for a custom, I can't recommend this line. They're expensive. the the packaging is garbage. The the foot peg, as you had mentioned, is proprietary, so it's not going to fit on any other stand. The construction is shitty. The likeness is shitty. The ability to use this with other figures is shitty. There literally is nothing good about this line except the phaser and the communicator. Because this is the really the first 4-inch Star Trek, highly articulated 4-inch Star Trek line ever. Nobody has ever really done decent.
no, because Playmates did a 5.5 inch line or 5 inch line. So,
Yeah,
um, but so basically it sucks.
it does. It's not. It's a step above the, because I'd forgotten about the Playmates line, the 4-inch Playmates line, um, because I last year or the year before was looking for the Q figure because John Delancey was at Comic-Con and I wanted to get that figure autographed. Because I wanted the head because I was going to do my own custom and then have him autograph my custom. But the Q figure is just stupid expensive and the head sculpt is horrible that it's like I no. For the amount of money it would have cost to get the figure, I could have commissioned a decent head from Craniac, and it just ran out of time and interest, and just ended up talking to John Delancey anyway, who's a fantastic human being and always entertaining to meet. That's the second time we've seen him at Comic Con, and he is. If you ever get the chance to meet John Delancey at a convention, don't pass it up. He absolutely loves to talk to the fans.
Last year or earlier this year, they had a convention here in Buffalo that had no Star Trek guests. I'm like, they had the American, half of the cast of American Pie was there.
Yeah,
And the original Dukes of Hazards that are 70 years, they're the same age Uncle Jesse was on the original show. So
yeah.
I saw pictures from it. I'm like, they don't even look like themselves anymore. So, but yeah, they didn't have any Star Trek people. I was like, that's
Yeah, they didn't
pretty
have
lame.
great people at this year's convention. I think only just because they had so many at the previous year. Because Michael Dorn was there, Gates McFadden was there, John Delancey was there, and it seems like somebody else was at a Chekhov was at the Colorado Springs convention that year too. So I mean, they had 4 people within a short amount of time. So I don't think they had anybody there
Um,
for Star
I
Trek.
don't.
They might have had some voice actors from Lower Decks, but I don't know.
You got to get to Atlanta for Dragon Con.
Ooh. Yeah,
I
because
was gonna say, yeah, that's where That's where all the actors show up. Have you been to Dragon Con?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the first time I got to go to Dragon Con, I took students.
Wait,
We had the school paid for it.
that's what?
Nice.
That's the
Yeah,
coolest school field trip ever. So,
yeah. We had like a sci-fi club, and there was some extra money in the budget, and we're only an hour from Atlanta, so it was like we'll load up a bus, take all these geeks, and to be honest, there was 4 or 5 faculty members that were like, yeah, we'll go. And we all got tickets. We had 20 students, and we just let them loose and said, meet us back here at 5 o'clock or whatever. And then we all did our own thing.
Nice.
that's aw-
That's
so
fantastic. My wife,
so
uh, my wife's best friend, as I mentioned, is a Latin teacher, and she every couple of years will take the Latin club to Italy, and then she has my wife go with her as a chaperone. So she's
Ooh.
been to Italy a bunch of times with the Latin club. So yeah, it's kind of it's always really cool when teachers are able to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
um
Especially
in
if the
high
school paid
school,
for it.
you got to take a language.
Yeah.
Josh took Latin.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but I remember he was speaking Latin. I'm like, that sounds awesome. Why are you taking that? Why are you taking that class? I'm like, I don't think anybody actually speaks Latin outside of that Latin class, but it does sound awesome.
It becomes useful in medical in med.
Yeah. Well,
All right, I could see
if
that.
you ever
Or
take a
yeah, the
botany
sciences.
class,
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, once you start going into sciences, Latin becomes very useful.
Um, so how many times have you been to Dragon Con?
we went a few years, and then I got promoted and had less time for that kind of thing, but the school kept going. And then part of the problem is Dragon Con is always like around my anniversary. And
Ah,
so if we can't work it into the anniversary activities, then
That
it's
makes
less,
sense.
see, ours is always 4th of July weekend or Father's Day weekend.
yeah,
Never changes. So I give a fuck about Father's Day because I haven't talked to my dad in, I don't know, almost 20 years. And my dogs don't get me anything for Father's Day. So, it's
yeah.
no big deal. And my wife absolutely hates going out at night to go watch fireworks. So we never go anywhere for 4th of July. So
Yeah.
it works really well for us.
Can't blame her.
But
We,
guests
we,
tend to cancel because those are big holiday weekends. So they'll schedule these guests and then they realize, oh, that's 4th of July weekend. I don't want to do that. And then they'll
yeah.
cancel.
we kind of got
um,
out of the habit with the pandemic. And then to be honest, things have gotten crazy expensive, even just to drive up to Atlanta, which is not that hard to do. And then to partake in everything, it's like, wow, do I really want to spend that money right now?
Yeah.
Um, but I missed it because of something that was going on. I can't remember why we couldn't go, but in Montgomery or no, it was Birmingham, Alabama, which is still just like another hour and a half from where I am. There was going to be a Comic Con there. I think they call it the Iron City Comic Con. And a lot of the Star Trek guys were going to be there. Delancey was going to be there. Frakes was going to be there. There's a bunch of guys. And then for some reason, we couldn't go. I think my daughter had a conflict or something. And I said next year though, if they're have that nice of a turnout of big names from Trek, then I'm gonna make a reason to go.
Yeah. And I always, so my big thing is getting my customs autographs. So I want to see the guest list ahead of time to be able to get a custom together because I can't just do that on the fly. So
Yeah,
that's always want to see who's going to be at the convention. This year it was Adam Savage.
yeah,
So who is somebody that I've always wanted to meet because he is so big into customizing, making prop replicas of stuff from scratch that like he will totally dig a custom action figure. And
yeah.
he thought it was fantastic.
Another
um,
drawback of Comic Con is if you don't take several $100s worth of cash with you
Yeah.
to be able to interact with these people, you're not gonna, get any one-on-one time.
Yeah. And that's like our big thing. So, that's our like our vacation. So we're
Yeah,
good with that. So
I at most conventions that come around this area, I look at the guest cast list and I'm like, who are some of these people? Who
Yeah,
are some of these people? And then they'll have like a bunch of wrestlers. And I know who they are, but I don't need to go to a convention to see them. Or again,
or the
half
one
of the
that
cast of the American Pie movies. Really?
or yeah, but the one
Really?
that we didn't come out and they had the whole fucking cast from Sons of Anarchy, and it's like I would have loved to have done that because I
Yeah,
would have
well,
had all my Sons of Anarchy customs autographed.
yeah. Yeah,
They had
I
like
think they had six of
everybody,
those cast
yeah,
members.
they had like everybody that I hadn't already met was going to be there, and I'm like, God damn, I would have saved up for a year for that just to do that.
Um, well, Josh, would you like to do our general geekery questionnaire that we like to do with the guests? It
Sure.
started out as the Colbert questionnaire from Stephen Colbert's late night show, but we've toggled it. We've switched some of the questions out, so it's definitely our own
Some of
questionnaire now.
some of them aren't going to work, so I don't know how we'll do that, but
We'll make it work.
yeah,
Um,
we'll just probably end up skipping those questions. We'll just,
um,
but yeah,
we'll ask him. He might have an answer for it. So,
yeah, I don't think
um, let me
but
see. Where's okay?
it,
Um,
I've got it pulled up. So yeah, go ahead.
all
So yeah,
right. So
he starts it.
yeah, we'll take turns asking the questions. So
Gosh,
these are the questions that are supposed to cover the full spectrum of the human experience or your geeky experience. So, what is the
God.
best sandwich?
The best sandwich, peanut butter and jelly.
all right.
That
So
is
okay,
unholy and wrong.
I
Peanut butter is good, jelly is good. They do not, nor have they ever belonged together on the same piece of bread.
I would wholeheartedly disagree with that.
It, it's an abomination. I'm just saying.
No, you're just weird. All right.
Wait, crunchy peanut butter or smooth peanut butter?
Smooth, but I can do crunchy.
Crunchy, because in this household, smooth peanut butter is dog peanut butter. That's what we put pills in when we
Yeah.
give it to the dog. So it's called dog peanut butter in this house. What is one thing you own that you should really throw out?
Oh God. 35-year-old textbooks that I can't let go of,
Uh,
that I keep holding on to. And I said, it's so much better in this old ass textbook that was old when I got it
yeah,
that I can't let it go.
I still have my paramedic textbook that is over 20 years old, and you can imagine how much of that information is out of date. And I've
Yeah.
heard of that.
But there'll still be like that one explanation of something, and you're like, this is the one I have to come back to, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how many old textbooks do you have?
I've only this is a new office for me, so I've only got like 4 or 5 of the old ones here. But at home, I probably had I kept everything from college, and I graduated in '02. And then I had inherited some old textbooks from a faculty member who was retiring. So I think I have like a hydrology textbook. I'm not a hydrologist at all, but for some reason I had the hydrology textbook from 1956.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've got textbooks. I've got a small bookcase full of emergency medical
Yeah.
textbooks, so I can relate.
What is the scariest animal?
Oh, I don't know the name of it, but it's a little fish that swims up your urethra in the
Oh,
Amazon.
yes. Oh, God.
Oh, anything that swims up any part of the body is scary.
And if you can't really see it all that well, but you know that it might be around, that just scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either.
I'm,
Luckily,
I'm down the hall from an ichthyologist, so when I see him next, when the next semester starts, I'm going to ask him about it.
luckily, I think it's unique to South America, so it was never
Yeah,
any.
you'll never catch me there.
Yeah, it was never any place that I was at. Although I was in Guyana for a year, but that it's like out in the jungle. It's not something that
Yeah.
you run into pretty frequently down there.
Growing up, I would have said piranhas, like
Can see that,
because of the movies.
right? Yeah,
I've
it's
never
like
seen a piranha movie.
Oh, they were
piranhas.
great.
Piranhas in quicksand. It's like I saw a meme the other day that said, I really expected quicksand. Growing up in the 80s, I really
Yeah.
expected quicksand to be more of a problem than it really actually is. and yeah, piranhas and quicksand, I think are two things that it's like I really, growing up, expected to have to deal with that as an adult, and just
Yeah,
never.
I've never once gone any place where I would encounter quicksand.
Uh, but
I've
it's
gotten stuck in mud before, but
yeah,
I wasn't sinking. I was just stuck. I lost a couple of shoes, you know.
yeah. Coffee. How do you take it?
Um, Hold on. Double cream, double sweet,
I like that.
just like Miles O'Brien.
Ah, yes. All right. Nice.
Um, have you ever asked somebody for an autograph when you've been to Dragon Con or other conventions?
Terry Farrell. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Jadzia. All
Yeah,
right.
it's framed at the house.
Nice.
Um, that's cool. How long ago did you get it? Because I know she's doing the conventions again now.
This was 2015, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, she's been doing the conventions for a while. It's it's yeah, because I think it's been yeah, because this year I think was 30 years since Star Trek Deep Space Nine started, and
Oof,
boy, that'll
man.
make me feel old too.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
um,
what do you think happens when we die?
Um, Not much for a biologist. You return
Yeah.
your energy back to the nature.
Yeah. I see that.
become worm food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Entropy,
circle of life.
pretty much.
Your favorite action movie?
Die Hard.
Ooh, good choice. I just watched
I
that recently.
I'm recent. I started rewatching that the other night. It's been years since I watched it.
Although
There's some stuff I forgot.
Yeah.
I am like it's right here with First Blood,
Oh, okay.
another potential Christmas movie.
Yes, absolutely.
But First Blood was just they should have stopped right there. They should have stopped. No more Rambos.
Yeah.
But that movie, the social message that came along with it and the blood and guts gore,
Yeah.
it was like that and Rocky 1, like 1 and 2, we could stop there and life would be perfect. We don't need the rest of the sequels.
I would agree with that. What is your favorite smell?
Petrichor,
Oh, the smell
Ghostman.
just before it rains, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, yes.
Um, I learned that word from uh Sandra Bullock was taking the Colbert questionnaire on his show, and she mentioned it, and I'm like, oh, I had never heard that word before. So,
I hadn't heard it either, which is kind of weird.
okay, so your least favorite smell?
Oh, this is niche, but it's a there's a chemical in the lab that's called DTT,
What is that?
uh, dithylthreonine. It smells like ass. It's meant for denaturing things. You add it when you're going to grind up cells. You add a little bit, and it kind of helps break up the cells.
Yeah, gotcha.
It denatures proteins and stuff. It smells. But what as much as I hate it though, when I was in graduate school, we would create dry ice bombs. And you take these little tiny test tubes that have caps on them called Eppendorf tubes. They're made of plastic. And you put a piece of dry ice in there and a drop of water and seal it up and it'll go pow. And so there was a student in the lab he was a MD PhD student. And we would always prank each other. So I took one of those things and I added a drop of this DTT to it. So when it was a stink bomb.
Yeah,
And on the way to because we would like sneak up behind people and drop it in their white lab coats, like the physicians wear, just
yeah.
drop it in the pocket. And then as I was about to do it, he was, working away, heads back to me. It exploded all over me.
Oh,
So I smelled like this chemical the rest of the day.
So that kind of backfired on you just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it what do you have to do to clean it? Because like if you get sprayed by a skunk, you got to do some take extra steps to get rid? Do you have to do something in particular to get rid
No,
of
just a good wash will get rid of it. But it's one of those things that for the rest of like the week, you might be going, am I still smelling it, or is that just a memory of the smell?
Gotcha. Uh, let's see here. What was your first concert?
Leanne Rhymes,
All right.
Where at?
Columbus Civic Center,
Okay. Was anybody else on the ticket with her?
Brian White.
I
So
don't
it
even know
was
him.
country-ish. I was dating the girl I had was dating in high school. I took her, and that was our first
Ah,
concert.
Um, let's see. Soda or pop?
Oh God, at different stages of my life, I've used both. My family's from Indiana, so I grew up saying pop as a small child, but then it became soda. But having lived in Georgia for so long, it's just Coke.
yes.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if it's Coke or not. It's just Coke.
yeah,
Um,
everything's Coke. Dr. Pepper's a Coke, Sprite's
Pepsi's
a
a Coke.
Coke.
Yep. Yeah, I've got a
um,
buddy that lives just south of Atlanta. So, uh, what is your most what is the most used app on your phone?
Lately, it's been TikTok. I think I sent Josh like probably 400 TikToks.
I often forget that TikTok exists. So when I go in there, I'm like, oh shit, there's a lot of messages. But yeah, if you send them to me on Facebook, I'll see them fast. Like on
Yeah,
Messenger, I'll see. Yeah, I tend to forget TikTok exists.
Not for much
Um,
longer.
yeah.
I was gonna say, aren't they? Yeah, they're
It's getting banned, and then I'll find something. I've gone through stages since social media existed. There was a stage where like MySpace absorbed my free time, and then Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. But now they're all kind of passe. And so whatever the next one, so something to just scroll through and watch cats and dogs and
Yep.
you know.
I have fond memories of MySpace. Um, you could go to everybody's profile and it would have like a song
Yep.
attached
Yeah, you
to
had
it.
to learn HTML.
Yeah.
Um, but let's see. What song plays when you walk on screen?
Oh, I'll tell you what I've done in the past in real life. I was teaching a class and I hid a small Bluetooth speaker in the classroom, and the students were waiting for me and they were getting kind of antsy. And so from my phone, I started playing the Imperial March.
Nice.
And then I came in, and it was a test day, so I had the exam in my hand. And
I like it.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, no, it's even better when there's like a real story behind it. Okay, what number am I thinking of?
69.
Nope.
42?
What's that?
42?
Yes. Yep.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
It's the
42.
answer.
Yep.
It's
The
the
li-
answer.
the answer to life, the universe, and everything. That's the number you were thinking of.
Yes.
All this time we've been doing this damn quiz, and I didn't know what the number was, and it never occurred to me to just guess that it was 42.
Yep.
Um.
Somebody got it right finally.
Okay. Well.
Took 2 tries, though.
That's fine. I usually give people 2 tries.
Yeah. So. Well, now you win a prize. I don't know what the prize is, but now you win a prize.
I don't know
Um,
if I'll have to figure that out because yeah, I said if anybody ever got it.
and
Uh,
now you have to come up with another. Oh, wait, you're going to make me come up with the answer to that question, aren't you?
yeah, we're gonna have to
Um,
switch off who starts the
um,
the quiz. Yeah, because yes, that was the answer. Holy shit, somebody got it right finally.
it never, as much as many times as I've watched or listened to the audio or read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it never occurred to me that that would actually be
And it's kind of
your.
funny because I'm like, watch Josh be the one that gets this right. And
And
sure enough,
sure enough.
sure
All
enough.
right.
How about
So
Holy shit.
Wow, it actually happened.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, congratulations on that.
Yes.
Um, um,
We've had probably what, a dozen people take the quiz at
at
least,
least, yeah.
and nobody's gotten it.
Um,
All right.
so describe the rest of your life in 5 words.
I need an extra word.
This is a tough one.
I was gonna say work till I die. Work till I die. But then I need two more for on campus.
Well, you could always hyphenate them.
Yeah.
Um, um,
Close enough.
yeah, that works.
Oh, oh,
Live, work, die on campus.
live, work, die on campus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's kind of my father-in-law's retirement plan. He worked for the city water department for 45 years and planned to die in the Flock and Sed Basin and didn't. And that's like my retirement plan is to get hit by the ice cream truck while I'm driving the ambulance. And my wife keeps reminding me, she's like, that was my dad's plan too. And look how well that worked out for him. So
I've had all these colleagues retire recently, and I asked them what it's like, and they're like, "Oh God, it's they start charging you for your insurance based on how old you are. There's
yes.
all these things happen." They were like, "Don't retire, just die in your office."
Yeah, exactly. Um, let's see here. Hang on a sec. I gotta move my aisle or window seat.
I'll because I'm 6'6" and I gotta have somewhere to put my feet.
Yeah, I'm 6'4" and I still prefer the window. So
Well, I have to go to the bathroom a lot, and there's nothing that like I hate being that guy that's like, "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me," like sitting in the. My daughter likes to sit in the middle of the movie theater, and if there's nobody around, that's great. But if it's full, then I'm gonna inevitably get up twice to go to the bathroom in the middle of the movie.
yeah, see,
I hate
I'm like
being
a
that guy.
camel. I can do the 15-hour flight to Dubai and not have to pee once. When I get there, my back teeth are floating, but I
Yeah.
get I get in that window seat and I don't move for 15
Well,
full.
I've got Crohn's disease, so it's like I'll
Yeah.
all of a sudden be like, "Oh, I gotta go now."
Yep.
Shit on
That
my
I
shoes.
understand. Yeah, that makes perfect sense now. All right, JD.
Um, one geek grail, like anything. Let's say money's not an object, and you can get anything, any sort of geeky thing that you want.
You just skipped like two questions, dude.
Uh, yo, wait a minute. Oh yeah,
But
I did. Best
money's no
action
object.
figure. Yeah, yeah. We can combine it if you want. Yeah, best action figure. Because you, I know you're not a collector now, but
Yeah, best action figure from your childhood. How about that? That's a good.
He-Man, like I maybe it explains why I'm gay now, but the He-Man, I just loved him.
um,
And a good Skeletor.
All right. No, that's yeah, no, that's a good one.
I
So
like how memeable Skeletor is.
Yeah.
right. The next question we probably will skip because most of the time the people we have on are customizers, so we always ask what their favorite custom that they've made is.
But if
Oh
you've
yeah.
ever done arts and craft projects, you could go with that. I imagine your daughter has made you do arts and crafts
My
at least
my
a few
kid,
times.
she's big into arts and crafts. So I think once when I learned paper mache, I made like, you know, an astronaut's helmet.
Ooh, nice.
And out of because you could just blow up a big balloon and put the
Yeah.
paper mache around it and then kind of carve. And so it made me feel like I was, like a 1960s,
Oh, like the old
the
style.
round,
Yeah.
Oh,
Fishbowl.
that's the best.
I like it. All right, JD. Go.
Your geek grail. Yeah, let's say money's
the
no
geek
object.
rail. No
Whatever.
money's no object.
Yes. Anything you want.
I feel like I want the prop that was Luke's green lightsaber
That's a good
from
one.
Jedi.
Yeah.
Like
Screen
the
used light.
from the movie.
Yeah, screen used lightsaber. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a replica, not some knockoff. No, you want the one that Mark Hamill was swinging
Yeah, the
around
one that Hamill
killing
had.
skiff guards.
Hero
Yeah.
props, what they call those. Yeah. The hero prop lightsaber. Yeah, I like that.
Or
That's a
or like Indiana Jones's whip or something, something that was prominent, in one of those movies.
yeah, absolutely. I think Adam Savage answered that question, and that was his was the whip from Indiana Jones. So that's also
I didn't have I'd hurt somebody though. I feel like I'd hurt myself or somebody.
uh
Well,
yeah, I got a whip shortly after high school and just about took my ear off one time. So
Yeah.
uh who is your favorite comic book artist?
I've never really been into the comics that much, so I don't know if I can answer that one.
Fair enough. Like I said, some of these are kind of really niche questions. So
Yeah. It's kind of where Josh and I diverged, in our youth, because I remember he was big into, the comics, the Dark Horse comics that existed at the time for Star Wars, and I had really not I was, my nose was in a Tim Zahn or Kevin Anderson book all the time.
yes.
And
How about a favorite comic book movie? That might be a good a good substitute.
um Spider-Man, any of the, going back to Tobey Maguire, you know,
All right. Yeah.
with that campy feel.
Yeah. Fair enough.
um, your favorite musical soundtrack, or no, music soundtrack. Sorry, not musical,
Oh,
music.
it's because I can answer musical.
Now
It's
go,
got
go for
it's
it.
got to
Yeah.
be The Sound of Music. But.
Sound.
Um, you know, I saw The Sound of Music a couple years ago for the first time all the way through, and I have now watched it like four times since. Holy
Yeah,
shit, that's such a great movie with such a
yeah,
great soundtrack. And
No.
damn it, that song about what the hell is wrong with Maria? There's nothing wrong with Maria.
yeah.
She was fine.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you do
the
with a
nuns
problem
just
like
didn't
yours?
understand.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh
But
and then
favorite soundtrack in general?
oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is a tough one. It's got to be between First Contact and The Two Towers.
Oh, okay. All right. I like that. And then the last question is who's your favorite superhero?
Favorite growing up, it was Superman. Had to be Superman. Um,
Yeah.
as I've aged, I've started to kind of pick up more on Marvel. And so, like I said, I didn't grow up with the comics. So my exposure to a lot of these characters has been the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so I like Doctor Strange a lot.
Ah,
And
yes.
then I want to I'm really looking forward to see what they do with Wiccan.
Okay.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because yeah. Speaking of comic books and stuff, the magic stuff was not anything that I like
Yeah.
the red like that I read in the comics, like the Scarlet Witch. I wasn't allowed near those comics. Because my parents with the satanic panic and all that nonsense. Um,
Witchcraft.
but yeah, since I'm a grown up and I can make my own decisions now, movies and stuff about witchcraft and paganry, I love it. Nobody can stop me. But yeah, what the setup for Wiccan in that movie, I'm like, oh, they did this really well. Um, and I know Catherine Hahn just got nominated for a People's Choice Award for her performance as Agatha, and you know what? I really hope she wins. She
Yeah.
is phenomenal in that part. Because before WandaVision, I didn't know who Agatha Harkness was. I didn't have any
Yeah.
idea. For all I knew, she was made up for that show.
Yeah, same
And then
here.
when I looked her up from the comics, I'm like, oh wow, she's 300 years old and she looks like she's 300-year old. You know what? That's akin to making Aunt May from Spider-Man a villain. That's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
I really like what they did with Catherine Hahn on that show.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
I like the WandaVision series,
Yeah.
and then I'm a big fan of the actor Joe Locke. And so, it was kind of obvious that where they were going with that, like that they were going to make him Wiccan, but I still needed them to like do the reveal, you know.
And they did, and that the costume
Yeah.
is perfect.
I haven't seen it.
Um,
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry.
That's all right. We're
well,
gonna.
I do recommend that you get to it because if you liked WandaVision, it's a great spin-off from it.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I was not overly excited for it, but everything I've heard about it has been fantastic. So I think we probably are going to end up watching it.
It's a good storyline, definitely a good storyline. And then they've left the door wide open for where these characters are going afterwards. Like, so
And
much they can
that's
do.
what I've heard is there's like a lot of buildup for future projects, which is I always like. So that is the general geekery questionnaire. Um, and that's about I think about all we have for this particular episode as well, because I got to get going. Uh,
That's all right. I just wanted to, because Josh and I we've been friends since high school, and in high
Yeah.
school they called us Big Josh and Little Josh because to see us next to each other. You know the the movie poster for Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Yeah, that was kind of us. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, tall and skinny, and then short and stout. Um,
Well, our other best friend was as tall as me, so you'd have like this bell
yeah,
curve.
then it was like looking at the two towers. Just imagine the Eye of Sauron above me.
Yeah.
he's
It,
the
it
Three
was
bottom.
a
smart
lot like
asses sitting around.
JD's
that.
the bottom of the bell curve. I think that surprises no one.
It does not.
No.
But
Right. As
yeah,
always, please do that so fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you think about the Star Wars TV shows, Agatha All Along.
yeah, I'd love to hear people's opinions on that. So,
What you think about some of the Star Wars stuff that we released. Opinions on the Hiya Toys Star Wars or Star Trek figures, and anything else that we talked about on the show. And as always, thanks for watching.
thanks everybody. Thanks Josh for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us.